Welcome to today's podcast, my king. What's your name, sir?
Chris Knight.
Chris Knight. Oh, what a royal name.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Eternally Prolific Kings podcast, where we basically learn how to communicate with society and not judge anyone for their current circumstance, because we know that our current circumstance is just a test. When you pass the test, you get to higher levels.
For real, I was just confronted with that same sort of test.
What happened? Here you go.
So, I mean, as we were setting up for this podcast, I went behind this crust pizza. I did just say I didn't want to fucking put them out there, but like, honestly, they are on some negative shit. I'm not about it. But I was just, I was just out there.
Yeah.
And rummaging through their cigarette case, or their reciprocal, and I saw a man come out and he kept on staring at me, and then when I would make eye contact with him, he would avert and then continue to stare at me. And I noticed that like he was smiling out of the corner of his face.
It's crazy.
And like, yeah, it's like he with no words made me feel so small. And like he went back in his little building and he like grabbed his manager for whatever reason. I guess he thought I was scary looking. But
they were intimidated. They were intimidated by your masculinity. I feel like in today's society, as we spoke about earlier, that it's like men are full of estrogen, which is a female hormone, and when these estrogen fulfilled men come around men who are, chemically balanced, it rubs them the wrong way and question like their own masculinity and be like, how dare they think that they're who they are when I don't know who I really am. And which is why my whole thing is know thyself. When you know yourself, it helps you to know why you're working so hard, what you're doing to work so hard. Come up with a plan. As opposed to just be a pipe dream. Like, what are you working towards? Okay, let's make this happen. Let's not wait 2 weeks. Let's not wait tomorrow. Let's get it done right now.
There are people who settled on working in a pizza restaurant. I mean, this is the mentality that we're talking about. It's that rich dad, poor dad mentality. They are operating on a lack of abundance. And they don't see the fruits of life.
This is correct. And I love that you're saying that, because we are located in a wealthy area, right?
Affluently white, middle class, yeah.
Very affluent area, but I couldn't help but notice ever since I've been here for the past month, it's like I learned that real affluence is and wealth is a mindset. It's not necessarily an area or any material thing, right? A Rolex doesn't really necessarily make you rich, because Bob Marley, as Bob Marley stated, he doesn't have, his riches isn't in material possessions. That's not the type of riches in which he carries. And I have that tattooed on my hand, eternal riches, for that exact reason, because the things that we acquire here, they come and go, but what we say echoes into eternity. So let our voices be heard.
God bless the podcast then.
God bless the podcast. God bless our lives. God bless the viewers. God bless the people that who persecuted you for being a pure spirit. God bless my enemies.
It's funny because I being back there, when you said that thing about how they're full of estrogen and they're like projecting onto me, and that they don't necessarily have their own path to walk on, and so they're kind of like vicariously looking at mine and scratching their head as to like, how did I get to this point, or like they look down on me or something like that. I noticed that I do have this sense of security about myself that I found recently that I haven't had in for what feels like forever.
Ain't that crazy?
And it's crazy that like even now, when I have people look at me that way, and it's like it can really knock me off of my sense of direction.
Correct.
And it can really fuck up the vibes of like what I'm trying to put out in the world, because then it just turns me into this defensive, mad, alpha type of character, and it's like furthest from the thing that I want to be. But I just want to see kindness be reciprocated in the world. I'm so sick of seeing people treat people like shit.
Right. And I'm glad that you said that, because I was speaking to a young lady earlier, and she was basically she was going from a senior in high school into her first year in college, and I was just letting her know, like, the world is real. You know what I'm saying? Like, you going from one level to another level, and allow my words to be some sort of guidance for you. You know, your lesson, your life is your greatest teacher. So allow what I've gone through at 25 to help you in this short time in which we're conversing through this my extension of love. I did a drawing for her as me and my bro were coming up with concepts as to what we wanted to talk about, and the topic was being a rich dad and a poor dad. And Robert Kiyosaki wrote this book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And 4 years ago, whenever I began to operate into that luxury frequency and program myself and learn that I am worthy of an abundant life and my artwork can make riches for me, I began to learn, like, okay, riches and poverty is just a mindset. It's not your circumstance. You know, Jesus came from place to place to place. He was a nomad, right? Was Jesus poor?
Homeless.
Right. Yeah. Arguably homeless, like the king said. So was Jesus not the king of all kings? Because he didn't have things, did that still equate him to being the lowest of the lowest?
You know, I like that question because I mean, just like Bob Marley, I think that what mankind truly values above all else is virtue. Correct. Like, and just like the podcast, for example, you know, we will die and this will outlive us, and we will be creating love and a legacy that will go far beyond what we could ever do.
Advertising services. Look no further. Dante 3000 specializes in these areas and has just what you need to stand out from the rest. Book your consultation today so D3 Customs can help take your company to the next level.
I mean, just let it flow, because you speaking from your heart. But that's a lot right there to even unpack. Mm-hmm. The fact that what is being said right here, right now, at this specific time and space.
It's like Van Gogh never became famous in his lifetime. He died in 100 years after the fact. Everyone liked his shit.
And have you ever met Van Gogh?
Hell no.
That's
but it's
crazy.
like everyone knows he's the guy that chopped his fucking ear off, though. You know.
Right. And wow. Right. So he was remembered for that. So what are you going to be remembered of in this lifetime? Are you controlling your destiny, or are you allowing the world to create your perception and who you are as a man, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to keep that frequency intact with like the volatility of the world in general, you know.
Trust me.
I mean, it's literally just a guy smiling at me and looking down at my circumstance, and I was just like, man, I want to paint the pavement with his head.
Of course.
Yeah. And it's like, man, what a caveman-ass mentality to have, you know? I know it's built in just for survival. Well, it's mankind in general. We all have those things that will just set us over the fucking deep end, but...
Yeah, you go off your rocker at times, but it's just, it's natural, because it's like we was talking about, this is the wild, basically. Mm-hmm. The world don't care about you to a certain degree.
Yeah, we definitely are the outliers of this world right now. I mean, like, when you're poor, it's like, God, I never felt more black. That's crazy. You know?
Fuck. Bro, and it's the truth. That's facts,
dude. It's so funny. I want to share this because we were walking down the bike path the other day, and we had just acquired some beer, and I saw a white lady look at me. Not really. I was dressed more poshly than I am right now, and I said howdy, and she reciprocated a smile to me. But because Dante is huge and he towers over me, she saw my face and his face at the same time on the bike path. And when she looked up at him, she looked repulsed. And I could not tell whether it was Dante being black, or it was the fact that he was hanging out with a white person. And we both instantly felt that shit. Just like that vibe of like disgust. And that's what I just got back there, man. It's like that. You are disgusting. You are not one of us. You're an outsider.
It's crazy.
And it's like, God. In a sense, I've never felt more free, though. It's like, you know, when you know the entire world thinks negatively about you, you just start to tune out the entire world.
It's like,
Really, though.
Yeah. God gave me a vision, you know, to fulfill here in my lifetime. So the only sense of like, I I don't know. The only attention really I seek is God's. Like being this low in my life, but being so high, you know, it's like it's never really low in my opinion no more, because I've been homeless, I've been poor, in a mindset and just not having any money, and it's like, and I've had money, and I've had things, and I've learned that even whenever I was considered poor, that was my most rich experiences in my opinion, because it was never about these material tangible things. You know, it was about this. I can't go to the store and purchase this. Be like, yeah, let me get a genuine person. Okay, that's $20,000, sir. Okay, here you go. Let me get 29 of them, right?
You know, I was thinking to myself that when for one thing, what a cheap price for like a virtuous person.
Right.
Like
I know.
off the some rich millionaire motherfucker would just like have a congregation of those fucks.
That's why I said let me get 29 of them so they can just buy them. But you can't buy it.
But and I also think to myself, you know, what does mankind strive for when the virtue signaling of money just loses its clout, like when it loses its luster. And because I had this question actually right after our little excursion together. Mm-hmm. I woke up that next morning and I said, what would my life be if I had $1 million and I had never had to struggle for anything?
I love that question.
My fucking identity would be completely stricken for me. I've always valued myself to be a genuine, honest, hardworking person that would never turn his back on anyone. It's like when you take the drive out of the human condition, it's almost meaningless.
It is.
And I don't know how to quantify that, because you think about how people are talking about universal basic income.
Uh-huh.
It's like, what is mankind's purpose without to fucking do something, without because when you don't have money, you pride yourself on having skills and your personal growth and your experiences and
right.
and your skills, and it makes you so comfortable that you never choose have to go outside of yourself and expand past what you currently are right now.
Beautiful.
When I was a kid, I've always wanted to say this on a fucking podcast, so I'm going to.
Praise God.
So when I was a kid, I was enamored with this band Alexis on Fire, and they wrote a song called "Happiness" by the Kilowatt that I recently found to be. I found out that it was a short story by Kurt Vonnegut. I named my son after a Kurt Vonnegut book. He means a lot to me.
And tell them about that.
So I will. But what I was getting at, the song is called "Happiness" by the Kilowatt, and just to sum up the short story, an astronomer was looking into the stars, and he was listening to the different frequencies that he could find in the vast parts of the universe.
That's great.
Hold up. Trust me, it's a great story, honestly, and it says so much about the pursuit of happiness.
Right. I didn't even know that existed, but go ahead.
Yeah, well, it's I mean, you know, we're all living in the vibration of the Big Bang, so to speak, right? So it would echo differently throughout the stars.
Right.
It's with stand to reason.
Wow. I wonder how much noise we're making out there in the stars.
God.
It seems as though we're the only ones experiencing this, the meaning of humanity, this low grade treatment of a human, you know, at least in our realm.
Mm-hmm.
It's I wonder how loud we really are out there, because I know how loud we are down here and how impactful we are down here, and how our pure presence is menacing down here. I wonder what planets are celebrating us, if that makes any sense.
And yeah, it'd be hard to pinpoint, wouldn't it? Because it's we definitely have confirmation of aliens, but it's just to point to the part of the universe where the fuck they came from. I could not begin to tell you, dude. That's insanity.
Exactly. It just makes you wonder. But go ahead, continue.
However, so yeah, "Happiness" by the Kilowatt. So this astronomer is looking to the stars, and he's listening to the different frequencies that are found in the different parts of the universe. And he found one that created euphoria, it's heroin. And so he listened to it and got stuck in it. Had a happening occur where the circumstances dictated that he could no longer listen to the sound being produced from that part of the universe outside of his control. And he was like, this is insane. I want to test it on the general public. And then they turn it on the radio for 4 minutes, and everyone gets a hint of this euphoria. And what was supposed to be about 15 seconds turned into 4 minutes. And something occurred once again outside of their control to allow them to disengage from this sound, because once people do it, they want to do nothing but to listen to it. So they said that, people were speculating, how can I make money off of this machine? How can I make money selling people happiness? And so they wanted to test it they wanted to have like the nuclear family to test on, mom, dad, kids. And so they gave them a box that was in tune to this part of the universe. And so they turned it on one day, and that was pretty much the end of it. They all stood around. They never drank. They never ate. They never had sex. They never used the bathroom. They didn't do anything that would produce their body dopamine on their own correspondence, And so they stayed there and listened to the machine, and as time went on, hours turned into days, and then the milkman came. The milkman comes, he opens the door, and then he hears the sound, and he gets sucked into it, and he leaves his car running outside. And then the fire department comes the police department comes wondering, why the fuck is the ice cream truck just blocking the road? He gets sucked into it. And then they're all on this euphoria machine. The fire department comes to be, what the fuck is going on with the cops in the milk truck? Mm-hmm. And they get sucked into it until a hurricane comes and it knocks down the power line. And all the people awaken from that euphoric dream, and they're like, I'm starving, I'm dying. They've completely neglected themselves. And if they had continued on that path, they would have done it until they died. And so, for me personally, the interpretation of the short story is that human happiness is fleeting because it's meant to make us live. It's never something to possess and hold forever. You always are trying to be exceptional so that you can get that little droplet that makes you want to thrive and survive.
Wow. And that we're operating off of that droplet right here and right now in time and space, honestly, because we know what has been occurring off camera and in real life.
Yeah, the universal magnetism is a son of a bitch. It is so powerful.